Gus is one of those silly live-action Disney films of the 70s. Following the death of Walt Disney, the company has suffered in popularity, particularly in terms of their animated features, though their live-action films were doing okay. Their popularity in animated films, of course, started to return with the release of The Little Mermaid in 1989, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. The film's title applies to a mule owned by a farm boy named Andy who wishes to be a sports star like his older brother. One day, Andy discovers that Gus can kick a football a great distance upon command. The discovery gets the attention of a professional football team that hasn't won a game in years, and Gus and Andy are hired for their halftime show. However, the team's record is still low, but during one game, Gus was used to kick a field goal with Andy giving the command because that is the only way Gus would know to kick. Since then, Gus has been placed as the team's kicker with Andy as the assistant. Yeah, it's as silly as it sounds, a goofy comedy with a strange and surprisingly funny idea. Basically, just take a mule and place it as the kicker in a football team. It did pretty well at the box office and has some well-known actors like Don Knotts, Edward Asner, Tim Conway, and Danny Wells. Not everyone liked it. Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars out of 4, saying 2 different kinds of movies have been coming out of the Walt Disney Organization in the last few years. Inventive, entertaining fantasies like Escape to Witch Mountain and The Island at the Top of the World, and dreary retreads of tired old Disney formulas. Gus, alas, is in the retread category. Well, let's talk about my perspective. While I find this to be a decent film, it does have a few issues, such as with the pacing, especially towards the end of the film. During the climax does it start to get a little slow. As far as Ebert's comment about this film being a retread, the main focus is on an animal, but we don't necessarily see the human world from the eyes of the animal like in Lady and the Tramp or 101 Dalmatians or even The Jungle Book. As for other trends this film follows, it includes some slapstick comedy, and a lot of it is the sort of stunts you'd see in the Three Stooges films. To be fair, this film had potential. While this is not the first live-action Disney film that trained an animal to do things in a film that would otherwise be impossible in real life, it did perform some experiments in training a mule to be a football player. That's where the true comedy comes in. Seeing that mule in action, you could hardly go wrong. Maybe a few cleanups on the pacing and maybe a bit more on the comedy, and this would be a great film. But if you want to show your kids an entertaining film about an animal going beyond its own standards, this wouldn't be a bad choice.